Good evening and welcome to the 6 o'clock edition of the Eastern Kentucky News. I'm Courtney Cox.
And I'm Brooke Estep. This edition of our news is very special considering the fact that we are trying a new segment in honor of Teacher Appreciation Week.
Students really should be thankful for getting the opportunity to have an education and realize the importance of going to school.
Yes, they should, Courtney. There's nothing better than going to school and learning things that you didn't already know. Teachers are heroes in my eyes.
Yes, teachers should be appreciated. There is actually one theorist in particular we want to commemorate tonight. Not only is he the man of the hour, yet he also laid the foundation for what we now know as education.
You are exactly right. This theorist's name is Jean Piaget, and although he died in 1980, he still has a huge impact on the curriculum used in schools,
especially in middle school education.
Jean Piaget was the most influential developmental psychologist of the 20th century.
A great deal of present-day research and theory regarding adolescence starts from Piaget's demonstration of the appearance of new, higher-level mental abilities during this age period.
According to Piaget, the child does not copy reality, but rather constructs it. Reality is developmentally relative. It is always a joint product of the child's developing mental abilities and his or her experiences of the world.
Piaget's research and theory has also had considerable impact upon psychiatry. His description of the intellectual stages of development has provided a very important complement to the psychosexual stages of development as well.
Now, what is interesting about Piaget is that his personal family conflicts actually led to his creation of the theory of mental development. His mother was a devout Christian and his father had scientific beliefs. Therefore, the two were always in conflict with one another.
Piaget actually proved that he was a genius at an early age.
Yes, he did. He was very brilliant. He published his first scientific paper by the age of 14.
When Piaget was finally at the university level, he took courses in both philosophy and biology. After Jean received his doctorate, he decided to study psychiatry and took a position in France. There he took intelligence tests created by the English psychologist Sir Cyril Burt and translated them into French.
In order to check the accuracy of his translations, he did tests on children to ensure his translations did not make the tests easier in French than they were in English.
Piaget actually became enthralled in the testing because he liked to see the children's wrong answers. He then came to the realization that children did not see things wrong, yet they did have a different worldview than that of adults.
Yes, and then Piaget knew that the thought processes of children was a lot different than that of adults. He came to realize that the study of the development of children's adaptive thought and action of their intelligence was a way of pursuing both his philosophical and his scientific interests.
One field of philosophy is epistemology, the study of how people came to know the world. Piaget believed that he could put epistemological questions to the test by studying the development of thought and actions of children.
Piaget created his own discipline with its own methods and problems. The field was genetic epistemology, the study of child development as a means of answering epistemological questions. Piaget's career exploration of genetic epistemology can be divided into 4 sections.
These 4 stages are Stage 1, the sociological model of development, Stage 2, the biological model of intellectual development, Stage 3, the elaboration of the logical model of intellectual development, and Stage 4, the study of figurative thought.
Although there are 4 stages, we want to focus mainly on Stage 3 because it has a lot of focus on adolescence and the physical, mathematical concepts in both children and adolescents. Piaget argued that intelligence develops in a series of stages that are related to age and that are progressive in the sense that each is a necessary prerequisite of the next. There is no skipping of stages.
At each stage of development, the child constructs a view of reality in keeping with the operations at that age period. At the next stage, however, with the attainment of new mental abilities, the child has to reconstruct the concepts formed at the earlier level in keeping with his or her new mental abilities.
Piaget conceived of intellectual development as an upward expanding spiral wherein the child must constantly reconstruct the ideas formed at an earlier level with new, higher order concepts acquired at the next level.
Piaget constructed 5 stages of development and put them into a chart. We will now explain the different stages, characteristics, and give examples of each given in Pearson's textbook, Educational Psychology, Windows on Classrooms.
The first stage is the sensory motor stage, which is ages 0 to 2. Some characteristics of this stage include goal-directed behavior and object permanence. One example of this stage is the child will be able to make a jack-in-the-box pop up. The second stage is called pre-operational stage, which is ages 2 to 7. Some characteristics of this stage include rapid increase in language ability with overgeneralized language and symbolic thought, and are dominated by perception. An example of this stage would be if a child points out the car window and says, truck.
The third stage is concrete operational stage, which includes the ages of 7 to 11. Some characteristics of this are they are able to operate logically with concrete materials. One example of this is a child is able to order containers according to decrease in volume. The last and final stage is the formal operational stage, which includes ages 11 to adulthood. Characteristics of this are they are able to solve abstract and hypothetical problems and think combinatorially. An example of this, they would be able to consider the outcome of World War II if the Battle of Britain had been lost.
Much of the middle, junior high, and mainly the high school curriculum is geared toward formal operational thinking. Middle and high school curricula create a dilemma because research indicates that the thinking of most middle, junior high, and high school students is still concrete operational.
Many individuals, including adults, never reach the stage of formal operations in some content domains. These findings have important implications for teachers, particularly those in middle schools, junior highs, and high schools. Many students come to these settings without the concrete experiences needed to think at the level of abstraction often required.
Effective teachers realize this and provide concrete experiences for them. For example, a teacher had her 8th grade students center on the thickness of oil. They concluded that it is more dense than water. Until they have had concrete experiences demonstrating that water is more dense, they're likely to retain this belief.
Formal operations enable young people to understand celestial space, historical time, and multivariable causality. They can construct ideals, think in terms of possibilities, and deal with multiple variables at the same time.
Formal operations move young people to a new plane of thought, which is on a level of adult thinking. Now you can see why teacher appreciation is so important. Teachers definitely have big shoes to fill. Thank you for tuning in this evening with our special edition of the Eastern Kentucky News with Courtney and Brooke.
Now to Jason with the live feed from the Morehead State University basketball game.